So, welcome to the Slice of Time Street Photography podcast. Today I'm joined by Gino Ricardo, a street photographer from, nearby me, Rotterdam in the Netherlands. And he's also featured in the same book as me, which is funny because he's featured in the book Captured Antwerp and not Captured Rotterdam. So in the same book as me. So, hey, Gino, could you introduce yourself shortly?
Hey, Fred. Nice to meet you. Yeah, like you said, my name is Gino Ricardo, and I'm from the Netherlands, Rotterdam, and that's where I take a lot of my pictures. And also, that's quite funny that we are featured like in the same book. I didn't know that. I have it. I have it here behind me.
Yeah, I have it here, and I was going through your website through you have a book or a
About
page on your
section.
about page, yeah, which like publications. And I saw like Captured and Published Antwerp. I was like, oh yeah, that's the same book as me. So I immediately went through the book and I saw like, oh okay, of course, yeah, I should have known.
Yeah.
Maybe for context, for the people listening in, it's not that it's like just us two in the book, so it's weird that we didn't know each other. But it's a book with 45
Yeah,
photographers, if I remember
45 street
correctly.
photographers, I think
Yeah,
from the Netherlands and from Antwerp that are featured in the book.
correctly. Yeah, so it's Dutch and Belgian photographers, and it's a book all about Antwerp. There's also a book about Rotterdam, and now I saw there's a book about Berlin already, and one coming up from London. But anyway, so we're featured in the same book about Antwerp. So of course, immediately, maybe the question arises: Did you notice any differences in photographing Antwerp and photographing Rotterdam?
Yeah, definitely. Rotterdam, I'm much more familiar with. So it's for me, because I've been photographing in Rotterdam for like the past 5 years or so, 4 years. So it's kind of easier to recognize some spots, and sometimes because you walk around the city that many times, like the same locations, and then you start seeing something different. And with Antwerp, I just probably maybe you also know them like Thibaut and Octavian. So I usually visit Antwerp and I just photograph with them, and then just like for one day, and that's maybe twice a year, depending how everybody's schedule is. So yeah, for me it's like totally different because Antwerp like kind of feels like a new territory, and you just have to discover it, kind of like I discovered Rotterdam. So you're starting new. And sometimes that's very good, but other times it's also, you don't know. So you don't know the rhythm or the vibe of the city. So you need to get acquainted with it. And within one day, that's almost impossible.
Yeah, so it helps for you to have like a knowledge of the city, like because for me, for example, I'm Antwerp is hard for me because it's like always the same to me, and it's I've seen everything, it feels. So for me, like for example, when I come to Rotterdam or I go to Brussels or Amsterdam, it's like it's new and thus inspiring. So it's different for you. You prefer your hometown, or?
No, I mean, it works both ways, right? I mean, sometimes the familiarity, that's quite nice because then you know, hey, I've visited like this area in Rotterdam like quite a lot. So you just go to the right instead of going to the left. So you go on a discovery, and with new cities, like everything is new. So I went to New York like 2 years ago, and you just walk around, just walking and trying to get a vibe, trying to get to know the city. It's yeah, I mean, it's both in their own way good because after you photograph like the same city for like years, at some point you need to get like a fresh perspective. So going out to a different city, that helps a lot because like I said, like I went to New York and then I came back and then I saw Rotterdam like totally new eyes, saw different shots that I didn't see before. So at least for me, it works both ways. You kind of need to have the old, but also have the new, and the new can give you like energy to discover, to see the old new again, if
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
no, it makes sense. Yeah, it's yeah, it refreshes your eye
Yeah,
for the city you're
yeah,
in. So it makes
definitely.
total sense. Yeah. And then yeah, maybe because we're getting a bit ahead of. I first wanted to get back to you mentioned on your website that you studied animation and motion design. So for me, it was interesting for well two aspects, but I wanted to meet or look at one first. Was it different for you because you, of course, you're working with moving images like video? Was it hard for you to translate to photography, which is of course there's it's like a single image no in without yeah a continuous in time.
Um, I mean, no, because like you said, I studied like animation and design. So with the animation, if you go back to the old classics, so Walt Disney, let's say Snow White, like the one of the very first animations, like those guys would just draw every action like on a piece of paper and just flip through it. So that's also what I did when I started studying animation. So it was very, you need to think about the story, you need to design everything, you need to come up with everything. And with photography, it's like you have a world, it's set, like for example, a scene with light and shadow, you can't do anything about it because everything is set in concrete. So it kind of makes life easier, but
Okay.
also sometimes it makes also life harder because, like the light and shadow example that I just mentioned, like everybody's doing that. So how are you, or in this case, how am I going to make something different out of that? A scene that everybody's captured before. So I think there's a nice duality between the two because, like I said, with animation, you have to just do everything yourself. So you have to come up with the character, the backgrounds, the stories. You need to make it move, and then with the colors, etc. And with but like I said, with photography, it's just set in stone. But you can also make something new of it. Try to create your own narrative and just in my case, try to show the world or the images a bit different to the people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so do you still do like animation and motion design or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do that like on occasion. Like till 2 years ago, I was like fully doing that full time, and now I transitioned more into a photography job, doing also videography. So that's quite interesting because I kind of see it like it's kind of like a puzzle that you have. There's like a couple of pieces of the puzzle. So you have like the animation and design, or animation, that's one puzzle. The design, that's like the second puzzle. And then you have the photography, that's like the third puzzle. And then the videography that kind of completes it, at least for my case. So it's more like it's been an expansion of my skill set.
And so because you now that you mentioned actually the design a few times, I noticed that it repeats in your photography as well. So there's like a design aspect in your photography, um, which of course makes sense now. Do you notice that yourself? Is that something you look for, or
No, I'm not really aware of that. I think with my photography, like the new route, of course, like in the beginning when I did like the light and shadow stuff, I mean, it kind of relates with the design because, for the design, you just look at composition, and the light and shadow is just like one single character, and there's like a cool scene, and there's nice light, and there's nice shadow, and that's it. So that's kind of very a one-on-one translation that you can have with the design and photography. But I think with like the newer work that I'm making, like the more, I'm not sure if it's like abstract or even if it's like street photography, like the normal street photography that you see or the common, that I try to make something that's not of this area. Like when you see like one of the images that you think like in 20 years, it could have been taken then, but it also could have been taken like 20, 30, 40 years ago. So that you can't define like a time and a place to it. I think, yeah, that's the interesting. At least that's what I find interesting.
Because you mentioned like the what you consider street photography or not, is that something you look for? Like, uh, is it important for you to be like it has to be street photography, or is it okay for you for it to be fluid between the genres of, well, street photography to abstract photography to other types of photography? Because you also do architecture, for example.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
those is it for you like you go out with a mindset of I'm going to do architecture now, or I'm going to do street photography now, or I'm going to do
No, no. At least like for the architecture stuff, it just started. That was like the very beginning, very start of my photography. And I saw like a lot of great street photographers, and I was like, oh my God, I'm also going to do street photography. And then you walk out with your camera and then you point it at somebody's face, like, uh-oh, it doesn't work like that. So I first like started with architecture. So I did that like for like, I think 2 years. And then slowly when I also knew the camera, so I knew like the settings, how to turn stuff without looking. Then slowly and gradually, I went into more street photography. And so to come back to your question, I don't go out and be like, hey, today I'm going to do architecture or today I'm going to do street photography. I think it's like more pretty fluid. So it's kind of like I go out and I see what happens. Sometimes I go out with like a mindset, hey, I've seen that scene before. And then I want to try to get that shot that I have in my mind. And sometimes that could be like, I can get it done within a weekend, but it also can take like 2, 3, or 4 months before I get the
okay,
shot that I have in mind. So I tried for myself, I try to keep it fluid because otherwise I just feel like getting into a creative rut a lot earlier than when I do, hey, I see like something cool architecture, take that shot.
yeah,
Or I see like a nice abstract photo, then I take that shot, and then I see something street related, then I take that shot. For me, it's like, I think more like a way that I see and a way that I like to work to just keep it, like you said, like fluid for myself.
okay, cool. So because yeah, you mentioned of course that you have like an idea for a photo that's more for architecture, right? Or do you also in street photography have like, oh, I'm going to go there and I want it like this and like that, and then wait for like hours, or how do you is that
No,
differently then?
I mean, for architecture, sometimes it's quite simple. I just go out and I'm like, oh, I see the shot, and I take the shot. Like so, for my architectural scenes, I don't visit like the same place that often. That comes more in hand with street photography. Like for example, I think on my Instagram there's like an image of at Guggenheim. I think it's Guggenheim. I pinned it on my
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Then you see like there's a guy on top, and then you see like the top part of the guy, and then you see like a balcony, and then below you see like the legs. I think
yeah,
I stood, and then you see like another guy in the corner, like half his body, and then at the left you also see like some legs. I think I was there for like 4 hours or something. I went to New York for
really.
7 days, and I spent 4 or 5 hours just trying to get that shot. I just saw it and I was like, I'm not leaving till I get what I have in mind. And then
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I took like hundreds of shots, and then I went back, and I think I took that shot within the first hour.
Okay, yeah. You're a very patient person, and that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I need to be. I mean, I need to be, but I also try to be, because if you're patient, like the Guggenheim thing, because I was there for so long and I started seeing that, then you see different stuff.
Yeah,
And
true.
if you just go to Guggenheim and walk for an hour and just rush to it and, just take on a million pictures, you're not looking. So I rather be there for longer and have that one shot. I mean, is it the best shot in the world? Not really, but it's something different. It's something
Yeah, it's a cool
interesting, at
shot.
least to
Yeah.
me. I rather have that than just walk around in New York and take the same shots that everybody's taking.
Yeah. You also made like a similar shot in Amsterdam, in Rotterdam, sorry, with the um, it's called, how is the museum called? Museum Depot Boymans.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
But there, of course, it's well, it's a similar shot, but it's differently made because it's
yeah,
with a mirror.
yeah.
So it's yeah, to me, it's funny that you made a combination. Was that a long wait as well, or did that
Yeah,
happen?
yeah. At the one at Boymans, I think I went there for like 3 weekends or something. At first, I noticed the shot, like I think somewhere in summer, and I was like, "Damn, that's very interesting." I wonder if I can get the shot. And then I just kept going for like not as crazy as in New York, the Guggenheim. That's because I was there for just 7 days, so I had to get it. So, and here I think I just went for like 2 hour time period. So I kept going to the Boymans and just kept watching, kept observing. Hey, where do I need to stand? And I almost got it like a couple of times, but then the people were very similar, so you didn't get it. Yeah, and then this shot came along, and you get it. It's like a guy. I think he's wearing like a yellow shirt, and the girl is wearing like a zebra skirt.
The zebra
And
skirt, yeah.
yeah, and yeah, I that's like something. It's kind of like with the what we were talking about, like the animation and design. Sometimes, uh, because you need to come up with stuff, um, some ideas don't. How do you say, come to mind. And with photography like this instance, I just saw that. I was like, whoa, how cool would that be if I can get a shot like that? And then it just presented itself. Of course, I went there
Yeah.
for like 4 weekends. So I spent like 8 to 10 hours there to just trying to get the shot. But eventually, I think even when I got the shot, I went there like a couple of times. Like sometimes when I'm in Rotterdam and I'm like not inspired, I try to take that shot again. But I think it's worked like one, but it's not as good as the one that I took.
Yeah. Yeah. It's to me it's crazy you can go back to or like focus on getting one image for like so long. For me it's like I see something happen.
Huh?
If I get it or I don't get it, and if I don't get it, I'm already done with it. But it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe
But
I should
like,
try it more, yeah.
yeah, yeah, but in this case, I know what is. I saw it, and I knew that the possibility was very high for me to get it. Like some shots that, for example, Joel Meyerowitz or Matt Stewart take. With a guy with what is it, the umbrella that looks like a pickle. I mean, you can't go on the streets again and again and again to see that shot. You either see
No,
it or you
true.
don't. So I also have those kind of moments that I see something and take it, and you can never replicate it again. And at Boymans, I knew if I just stick with it long enough, it's going to fall into place. So there's like, yeah, the same at, I think, at Guggenheim. I think, was it? Yeah, the Guggenheim. It's the same. You go there long enough, at some point it's going to fall together like a puzzle.
Yeah. Okay, it makes sense. Something stood out to me, but I forgot what I was wanted to ask now again. Oh yeah, you mentioned the that you go back to the museum for this kind of photo if you feel uninspired. And I think it's an interesting thing to mention because I do that as well sometimes. Like those repeat places you go to if you feel stuck, and it's places you know. So I think that's interesting that you have it as well. So it's for me. There's a couple of places in Antwerp that I go to as well. If I feel like I'm not getting any shots or I don't see anything interesting, it's I just go there, and usually it gets me.
Yeah, it gets you in a flow. Yeah, yeah.
So it's cool that you have that too, and it's cool that you have that with that one specific photo then as well. Um, So of course, for people listening in, I'll link the photo in the show notes, just so you know which photo we're talking about. Both the Guggenheim photo and the Museum Boymans photo. So something that else that stood out to me because of your animation and motion design is because, of course, you're with a moving medium in that space, but also in your photography, I noticed a lot of well, like ICM, like motion blur, and also like uh, an attraction to moving objects or moving subjects better. Um, is it something also that came to came spontaneously, or how did that happen, you think? For
I
example, you
think
have
that
the
happened.
marathon.
Yeah, like the marathon. I mean, I started to photograph the marathon for like 2 years, and how that started was we all know the images of the marathon, right? I mean, it's usually like the guy who finishes with his hands stretching. Yeah, I made it. But you never see like the like I think the description of that image, like the guys with the with the dead body, the mothers with the junk in the trunk with a little bit too much weight, the ones that will never finish first. You never see those, and you don't see the people who struggle during the marathon, because I mean, if running 40 miles or 40 kilometers, that's insane. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, everybody breaks like at one point or another. And I just found this space, and I was like, I just want to try something different. So I just try to use slow shutter speeds, and then it just clicked. And that's like a spot that I go to every year. And every year it's like a surprise. One time people are like stretching in the tunnel, and you see like the motion blur trail behind them. And for this year, I just captured this guy. I think his name was Tom, and he just was absolutely demolished. And he was just sitting there with his hands like in front of his face. And I was like, dude, that's like, first I saw him coming, and I didn't know if he was all right, because I think I stayed with him in the tunnel because I saw, hey, I don't think he's doing well. So at first I just
Okay,
observed.
you really talked to him as well
No, no, I didn't
afterwards.
talk to him. I saw him coming, running, and he went like next to the wall, like with some people do, just take a rest. But I saw like, maybe he's not doing well, so I just kept my distance, and I was just looking for the medics if there was somebody around. And then I think after 15 minutes, he was still sitting there, and I was like, maybe I should call somebody or tell somebody, hey, take a look at this guy. And the medics, they, thank God they were there, and they went to him, they checked him up, see if everything was all right. And in the meantime, I just, took a couple of shots of him. I have like different variations. When he entered the tunnel, people passing him, also with the medics busy with him. And at the end, I think he was like sitting with his hand in his hair or on his head. And he was like, you see that he was devastated because he wanted to finish the marathon. But I took those shots, and I saw the medics were like, you're okay, you're good to go. And then he left, he went on his way, and we never exchanged a single word. I don't think he even knew that
Okay.
I was there. You know,
Did
that's,
he continued running, or did he
yeah,
just
yeah.
stop
I
and
think he
went? Oh,
continued running for a bit, but I don't know if he finished. I
yeah.
don't think so. I don't think so, because he was,
Okay.
yeah, the gas tank was empty. Let's put it
Probably,
that
yeah.
way. Yeah.
Can't blame him. I've never even tried, so I can't. I'm
Nah,
not gonna.
I'm not going to try it either. So
So,
yeah,
but to me, it's also funny because it's like in front of a poster with like The Last of Us, which is, of course, a series, but in this context, it gives it a funny twist to
yeah, yeah.
because
Indeed,
it's
I also saw the poster, and that's kind of how it started. I photographed, I think, different people in front of the poster because I wanted to get like the zombie effect. So I also have those, but I never share them online. So you just have like, super vague faces, and then you have like the text "The Last of Us," so it looks like a corpse or like a zombie or something, like a ghost or spirit just passing by. Like really, I thought it was like really interesting and fascinated.
okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's funny. I like Rotterdam as well. They have very big events like these. Like we have a marathon as well, but it doesn't seem as nice as yours. And like last summer, I was in Rotterdam, and there's this thing, Rotterdam Unlimited, which is for the people listening. It's like a big carnival. It's like 2 or 3 days. And we have something similar here in Antwerp. Right here in Antwerp, it's like one afternoon, and it's in one neighborhood, and it's like a fun, small kind of thing,
Oh, that's cool.
called Borgerio. But in Rotterdam, it's like this. It's like a massive event. Like it attracts so many people coming to watch. So I like that as a like Rotterdam is definitely a good street photography city.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely, definitely. There's like a lot of things to do, a lot of how do you say, a lot of events also going on. But I think if you sometimes compare it to other cities, like maybe London or New York, it doesn't compare. You know, it's like there's like every weekend there's something going on, and here it's like a couple of times a year. And then also all street photographers are like out with, like you said, with Carnival. You know, you go walk in Rotterdam, you meet pretty much every street photographer that's the busy doing street in Rotterdam. You can see them, you can spot them like from a mile away. So that's why, like from Carnival, I tend to just stay away from that because
oh,
it's
okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun, but
For me,
yeah,
it was a
it's
coincidence. I just booked a holiday during that period, and I arrived in Rotterdam. It's like, oh, it's Carnival. Okay, I didn't know. And then, of course, yeah, I leaned into it. But
and that's a
uh,
nice
it,
surprise. That's a nice surprise.
so yeah, that's very fun. But also the marathon. And maybe I should come next time. I also wanted to. I noticed that you on your website you make like a distinct difference between like your street photography in color and your street photography in black and white. Is there And on your Instagram, it's well, it's no, it's mixed
Now my Instagram
as
is
well.
like everything
Yeah,
just crisscross together, and I don't
yeah.
care.
And so, are you like someone who do it like premeditated? Like now I'm going to shoot black and white, or I want this to be in black and white, or is it more like an after the effects in Lightroom decision?
Yeah, that's a good one. No, I don't like. There's some shots that I think like, hey, this will work better in black and white, but predominantly I just shoot in color. And as a lot of the times, yeah, or, yeah, most of the time it's like an afterthought. You know, I
Yeah.
don't go
Okay.
with the mindset like unless you shoot like light and shadow and that kind of stuff, then you're like, okay, that needs to be, you know, black and white. But there are like not a lot of shots. I mean, there are some when I'm shooting it, and you're like, this should be in black and white. Then you already know, hey, I'm going to how do you say, convert it to black and white in Lightroom. But a lot of the time, I just try to capture what I see and stick to that. It may sound a bit weird, but
No,
yeah,
no, yeah,
yeah, I have no thought in that for that. I just shoot what I feel, and that's pretty much it.
yeah, cool. And because we're now on the topic of editing, and it comes to mind like maybe for design, you're a lot behind your computer already. Is that something? Are you big on editing? Do you like editing, or is it more like whatever? And I want to go out again.
I rather be on the street than editing.
Okay,
I mean,
so it's like a
that's
quick.
yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's quick. You know, I think for my images, if I edit for like 50 minutes, that's long. I try to get
15,
like,
like one
yeah,
five,
I
yeah,
try to get my edits done like within 10 minutes.
per photo or per walk.
No, per photo, per photo.
Okay, okay,
Yeah. So
okay.
tend not to, you know, if I need like 30 minutes to edit a photo, then I've done something wrong. At least that's my personal opinion. You know, I think the ingredients, everything needs to be there, and editing is just to enhance it.
Mm. Yeah, it's just like the seasoning at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because otherwise you're just taking pictures and editing. You're like, oh shit, oh sorry, I didn't mean to curse,
No,
but
no worries.
yeah. But otherwise, you know, it feels more like an afterthought. And I try to get everything that I want, like in camera. Of course, you know, you tweak colors, balance, the tone curve, the S curve,
Yeah.
you know, put more contrast, etc. But Like for my images, like I said, between 5 to 10 minutes, the edit needs to be done. I don't want to sit, yeah, for like 30 minutes behind the computer and then edit a bunch of more photos. Yeah, I have like a backlog now from I think this year and last year that images that I need to edit, sort. Yeah, but I like I said, I'd rather be on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm also practicing. Also shooting film.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just lovely to just get a scan of the lab, and it's like that's it. There's not much you can do to it. I mean, it is what it
Yeah,
is.
it's, to some degree, if you go into the dark room, or if you load it into Lightroom. And is there a reason you're trying analog now, or?
Yeah, I mean, I just felt maybe a bit bored, and I just wanted to try something new. And a friend
Okay.
of mine, he had like a Rolleiflex, and I was like, that's interesting. That's cool looking. And I was like, I'm just trying to get also get an analog camera. And I think I went to this camera place in Delft a couple of times, and they were like, "Hey, just keep an eye out on the space," and with very good customer service. And then I found like a rolly cord, and I was like, let's try it out." And yeah, it's just super different. I mean, your images, they're always square. So that means your compositions are going to change. You're also shooting film. I mean, it depends, do you shoot color? Do you shoot black and white? And here you have to be pretty deliberately sometimes I look at a scene, I'm like, shoot, this should have been color, but then you have black and white loaded. And then it's like, yeah, your second image, and then you need to take 10 more images before you can change the role. So yeah, it's more to also challenge myself to also for like street photography. Everybody knows Vivian Mayer and back in the day, and I would just try and at least I try to. The project was more meant to do portraits like family and friends. And then I was like, why not take it on the street and just try to do street photography with it? And of course, that's so it's like super difficult. I mean, I'm
And
like,
so do you notice that it changes your way of uh well, working digitally, or looking at subjects, or?
yeah, definitely. Because with the film, you only have 12 images. So it's kind of like in the beginning, it was kind of like, this is worth the shot. And I also tend to wait more for moments. So instead of, some stuff that are like, for example, the Boyman shot. I mean, I don't think I would have gotten that with the analog image. I mean, I took like so many shots before I get there. So I think it's like very, how do you say, very, yeah, it's like there's like a difficulty level. I think to it because I don't know if you shot like with a rolly cord or a Rolleiflex.
No, not yet. No.
Yeah, I mean you're looking down in the viewfinder through the image, and then your image is also it's mirrored. So sometimes you're like, oh, I need to go to the left, and then you have to go the opposite way. You need to go to the right. And it's much more slower pace. It's not like a Leica M6 that you can just put a roll in it, click, 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 click.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna ask. Yeah, more things that are more static, maybe, or no.
No, more moments that are revealing themselves more slowly.
Okay.
Yeah, so it could be like a crowd of people, or maybe like a house, or like something on a beach. Also, there's like also some street stuff I've been posted. I think I posted like two on the Instagram. On I think the last two posts or something. It was. So I'm trying
Oh yeah,
to.
it says so. Yeah.
Yeah. So for
Yeah, it
me,
says like film part two.
yeah, yeah. So for me, it's like way slower, way slower way to photograph. And, you really need to, at least I tend to take my time because you have 12 shots. Film is not cheap. Developing is also not cheap. So yeah, I try to I think capture more like the mundane stuff. The stuff that you see, but nobody wants to capture because you're like, that's boring. It's a beach scene. It's a lovely couple. So I try to do that.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. And do you do mostly color or black and white for film?
Now I bought like a bunch of black and white films. It's like cheaper, and also like with the winter months, when I go to work like at 6 o'clock in the morning, then there's most of the time there's like fog. So if I shoot color, I mean, yeah, you're not going to see it. At least I don't think that you're going to see it much. So I just bought like black and white and just shoot black and white. And on occasion, I'm like, I needed color for this, but Sasa.
Yeah,
That's the way the
yeah.
cookie
So
crumbles.
that's unfortunately, yeah. And so
Yeah.
you do it like on the way to work, as you mentioned then, or is like when do you make time then for street photography?
It depends. It's like most of the time in the weekend I do it, but also I just take when I go to work, I take my camera in the public transportation, and at 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes there's like very interesting stuff happening. Just people sleeping, people with blankets over their heads. Yeah, some pretty interesting stuff. Most of the time, it's like pretty boring, but on occasion, there's like some stuff, and I just take it, try to take it with a rolly cord. That's pretty interesting, also.
Okay, so you bring it like you really bring it to work every day.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
just put it in my bag and just bring it to work with me like every day.
Okay, because it's fairly big, no? Or
No, 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 it's quite. Oh shoot, no, it's quite small. I have it here.
it's quite compact. Okay.
Yeah, I can show you real quick.
Yeah, I have like photos online, but it's there's no
Yeah,
scale, of course.
no, no, no. So this is
Yeah, okay.
it, and this is the Fuji. Just to do like a scale comparison.
It's not huge, but it's yeah.
Yeah, it's still you're taking a camera with you, so it's
Yeah, you
not
don't put it just
yeah
in your coat pocket or something, but okay, yeah.
yeah. So I just take
And
it to
so
work
you
with me, and
and only
photograph
the
stuff.
analog?
Sorry?
So you only bring the Rolly cord now, or also the Fuji
No,
still?
no, no. I bring both, so I have like the
Okay.
digital and analog.
Okay. That's dedicated.
Yeah, yeah,
From I'm like one camera, one lens, and that will be it for that day. Sometimes, well, now I start bringing a second lens because it's a small lens, but yeah, I want to travel light. If I do street photography, I want to travel
yeah.
light.
Definitely. That's also the advice I would give. If you want to do street, just indeed travel light. Travel
Yeah,
light instead of having extra cameras, bring like a bottle of water, food, good shoes, all that kind of stuff. Like for this, that's when I see something that I think like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I think a couple of weeks ago, I saw like a guy walking in, I think near Amsterdam, and he just looked like a gentleman who just came out of the 1800s. I mean, he
yeah.
had the tash, he had the bowler hat, he had like everything. So I just stopped and was like, "Hey man, I have like this old camera. Do you mind if I take a portrait with you?" And he was like an Englishman. He was like, "Yeah, sure, fine, go ahead."
That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
works perfectly with the camera. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, it kind of, yeah, you get like a different vibe also with analog, right? At least I really enjoy like the process, but also like the nerve wracking, like, hey, did you get the shot? And then, I also took like a photo of this character. And then he was like, yeah, I'm having a book coming out at the end of the year. So just don't put it online. And what happened? It's for that picture. you saw like half of his body, like from his head to top was undeveloped. So yeah,
No,
I sent it to him. I was like, yeah, this is analog, so this can happen. He was like, where's my head? I was like, yeah, you kind of asked the photography gods not to show your head. So
oh, that's a
yeah,
shame. Yeah,
yeah. But I mean, it's more like a funny story than,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
That's the
mean,
fun
yeah,
thing about street photography. It's also like the shots you miss sometimes are equally as funny stories.
yeah,
Or
indeed,
the
indeed.
or something. Sometimes you have a shot and then something happens, and it's a nice addition to the story. Um, so yeah, I for me it's I have a few photos for that I made this year, for example, which I love, but aren't like necessarily photographic, like the best photos, but there's like something happened before or after it that I really liked, and it's like a souvenir for myself. So it's like
Yeah.
same with this photo. Like yeah, you had interaction. It was a nice conversation, and now you have the unfortunately underdeveloped photo, but it's still something. Yeah. And well, who knows? Like because I've seen I think some like double exposure edits. No, maybe I'm wrong. On your website, maybe it can be used for something in that sense. Like you can use it for a collage or whatever. So who knows? It's still valuable in the end.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. But like what you saw on my website, those are not double exposures, by the way.
okay.
Yeah, those are all taken. Like everybody thinks, like, oh, it's the double exposure that you did, like took two shots in camera, edit them in Lightroom.
Yeah.
But everything that you see, that's been taken using the environment.
Oh, that's cool because there's like one from a guy with like glasses, and you see him like his silhouette like 4 times. Like I have to count. Yeah, 4 times. So that's not even there. It's a double exposure, or
No. None of the images are double exposure.
that's crazy. That's well
Yeah.
done. Wow.
So that's why also with those kind of shots, I go back to the street like many times to just try to take that shot.
Mm, okay, that's wow dedication. And so so maybe like circling back to the very beginning as well. Like, why did you get into well photography, perhaps, or street photography? Was there like a reason? Because for most people, it's like a creative outlet, but of course, for you, you already had a creative outlet, I assume. So why did you get into photography or street photography?
Actually, the story starts, I think, before that, because while I was working at the agency, so doing animation and design, as they call it, a fancy name, motion graphics. I traveled with my girlfriend quite a lot. So, and every time we traveled, I would just take like a GoPro with me. And I just wanted to capture my travels, when you come home after 4 weeks of the United States, do like a little edit, a montage, and say, hey, this was how our trip was. Instead of, having a photo book, you show just
Yeah.
people, hey, in images, 24 images a second, you just show them a whole video. And actually, that's kind of how my photography started because we went to South Africa and I had the GoPro and I was like, I was very happy with the GoPro, but the quality, I was like, I'm going to South Africa. You're not going to do that like 10 times. I mean,
Yeah.
not every year, right? So I just went to a camera store and said, hey, I'm going to South Africa. Can you recommend me a camera that can record 4K? And what's a optional good lens? And I said, the budget was tight because I didn't know anything about photography or videography. So I said, what can you do? And he said, have you thought of buying a used camera? And then I was like, yeah, let's go. So they recommended me like the Panasonic GH5. I went to South Africa, made like very cool video, if I may say myself, of the trip. And then I came back home and I was like, the camera sitting quiet in the room collecting dust. because, you know, you're not going to travel 4 or 5 times a year doing big trips like that. So, and then during my lunch breaks, I just started to take the camera to work. And that's
That's
kind of
cool.
how, yeah, that's how my photography, because I had like a 1 hour lunch break. And that's also, you know, I saw street photography and that's like, yeah, we're going to do that. And then you point the camera at somebody and it's like, that's not how it works. And that's how I actually started with architectural photography. Just in my lunch break, take the camera to work. And then it became, that I took the camera to work, took pictures during my 1 hour lunch break. And then also in the weekends, I started doing more architecture and gradually I rolled into photography
Yeah.
to yeah.
Now I'm curious because like for South Africa, which lens did the guy recommend? Because for me, I'd assume like a good tele lens, but
Yeah. Yeah. So for South Africa, he said, you know, get like a 24 to 70.
okay,
And then I think my girlfriend had the 70 to 300.
okay, yeah, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. But it was not like the f2.8 lens. It was just like the kit lens, the more affordable version. But I was like, yeah, it's more that you can see like the animals and photograph them. And I think maybe we had the 40 to 150. It's like a very good lens, but I think it was the 70 to 300. And oh, I had the 45 by 200. So
Okay, oh, wow.
yeah, I had the 24 to 70 it's like 12 to 35. And I had the 45 to 200 and my girlfriend had the 70 to 300 and we just switched lenses.
Okay, cool. Because those aren't really like what I think of when I think of street photography, the lenses that come to mind. So was it like a switch there for you, or?
Yeah. Yeah, I think at first, I think I started with the 24 to 70, like the 12 to 35. But then for the abstract stuff, like the really zoomed in stuff, I just started using the 40 to 150. And
Okay,
then I noticed that the work was different, like because your attention go to way it's more like abstract. You zoom in. I think I also have like one of the images on my Instagram page that you have like the shadow. That's I think it's in the top three. The shadow walking up and down like a deck. It's like a
yeah,
really,
yeah.
yeah, really weird image, but that's taken like with a 70 to 200 lens. And I couldn't have taken that picture if I didn't have that lens, you know, because the 12-35, yeah, it just wouldn't, yeah, it just didn't do the job. I just started noticing that I just took like totally different images with my 40 to 150. And at one point, I just started using that
And
and
you still
just
use it?
yeah, yeah, just to use it to
Okay,
just
cool.
create something different and to have like, you know, we all have like a body of work, but I didn't want to have like, oh, that's the guy who does architecture and street photography stuff. But I also wanted to try to expand and just experiment and see, you know, what um, captures my attention and what I like. So I use those lenses like more as you can say like more of an experiment.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then you're still like more or less a long focal length kind of person, I think. Yeah, if I look at the photos.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I also like shoot. I have the Fuji, so I also do like I say quote unquote like the normal street photography stuff. I also yeah take those pictures too. You know, it's I think it's like a nice balance if you want to add like depth to your work. You know, with that you have like what is it, the 28 millimeter on the Fuji. That's like really interesting lens because it just shows you everything. And, you know, with a 40 to 150, you just can zoom in and get closer and just get like the details or something else that you notice that you, with the Fuji, I couldn't have taken.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And so Do you still do street photography if you go like abroad to other cities or countries? Do you still do street photography then, or is it more because we mentioned at the start that it's for you easier to do it in Rotterdam than Antwerp? Um, do you have it with all cities? Do you still, because of course you made the Guggenheim photo, so you do it in other cities as well. But is that something you actively search for other cities or?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, kind of like I said earlier, like for example, New York. You know, we've all seen those images from New York. So I went to New York and I was like, you know, that's great that every other photographer has photographed New York, and you see like the steam coming out of the, how do you say,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
the sewer.
sewer, yeah.
Yeah, the sewers. And, you know, of course I've taken those pictures, but New York to me was way more than that. So I think I try to approach every city like with my own eyes, because I can go to
Yeah.
New York and try to shoot like every other photographer, but what makes my work stand out? I mean, then it's just going to be a copy of a copy of a copy because they saw it as another photographer doing it. You know, maybe I don't know, a Joel or Fred Herzog, you name it. Then everybody's just copying the same thing, and I just want to see the place also with my own eyes.
Yeah. And do you take like influences from other photographers? Do you like look into books or like on Instagram, like actively get get inspiration, or is it more something you try to avoid or?
Yeah, I think it's like both. I mean, of course, you know, with Instagram, everybody's looking at everybody's work. I mean, I try to. I mean, certain things I just try to avoid. To be honest, but
Like, do you have examples what you try to avoid
yeah,
or?
like you know, the light and shadow stuff, for example, because I've done that also in the beginning, and at some point, it's not a cliche, but it gets like it's like low hanging fruit. It gets like really, I mean, if you've done that and you visit the place, you know, the light's gonna fall there, blah, 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 blah. It gets
It
like a
feels like a
default.
formula, like,
Yeah, yeah. It just feels like you're, at least for me, I'm just, yeah, it's like low-hanging fruit. So it's like, ah, yeah, I can see that. That's great. But I try to, you know, try to develop myself and try to see things maybe a little bit different. But in coming back to your question, yeah, of course, I have like you can see it behind me, but I have like tons of photography books, but also, you know, from different categories of photographers. So I don't stick to
yeah,
like just street photography. I also try to look outside of the genre, because photography is, I mean, it's not just street photography, but it's photography in general. You know, you have, I don't know, Sebastian Salgado, who does like documentary work. You have, what is it, Axel Ragnarsson, who also does work on the Arctic, you know, which is like very interesting to watch. And I think, you know, like I mentioned before, like New York, we've all seen it already. And there's like a lot of people who does producing work outside of New York, like Ragnar Axelsen, who you haven't seen before, which I think is like maybe even more interesting because, you know, how do you capture a white landscape? I mean, that's like Iceland, right? I mean, you have like dogs, but
yeah,
if you go to travel there, it's just white and you just see nothing for miles and miles and miles and just a mountain. How do you photograph that? How do you make it interesting for people? So I try to look at those kind of photographers rather to just looking at other street photographers. Because I
okay,
think, yeah, you can learn a lot more, at least for me personally. I noticed that I learn a lot more from people who are not doing street photography, who are just doing something completely different
makes
and
sense. Yeah,
giving you like a new perspective of what you maybe potentially also can do in street photography.
that's a good point. So let's start wrapping it up there.
Yes, yes.
So thank you, Gino, for your time and insights. As usual, if anyone wants to follow him, I'm going to put his links in the description, of course. So it's mostly Instagram and his website. So of course, go there and follow Gino. Also, make sure to follow me, of course, or for the podcast. Also on your favorite platform, if that's Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, I think, or Apple Podcasts or whatever. Make sure to subscribe. Also, feel free to share it with your friends. That's also very helpful. Friends that are into street photography, of course. So thank you, Gino, for your time, and we'll have to meet up if I'm ever in Rotterdam or you are in Antwerp.
Yeah, definitely. And also, Fred, thank you also for your time and also what you're doing with for the community. So that's like really lovely that you are, I think, shedding a light on a lot of people that I also didn't know before. I think that just that then just hearing the same names, but you just shed light on somebody else. It's just like, hey, that's really nice. That's also can also be
Yeah,
like an inspiration for later.
thanks. That's
So
nice
thank
to
you.
hear that it's appreciated.
Yeah, definitely.